Figure out, okay, well, how can we help you guys go out into your community and market this and help boost sales? So we are Kendall and I are in the process of putting together a catering guide. So we're going to touch base on a high level today, but over the next month or so, you guys will get a detailed catering guide, very similar to your winter guide, but focused solely on catering with different procedures and tactics and where to start and who to market to, and some ideas and pictures and everything like that. So please ask questions. This is definitely very open. I'm sure I'll call on a few of you guys to just volunteer on what you do currently to help give other ideas or other people ideas and everything. By the way, I'm Allie. For anyone who does not know me, I work in operations.
And I'm Kendall. I know I have to meet some of you still, but I'm in the marketing department.
So to start, just some fun facts. I want everyone to guess what percentage of total Duck Donut sales they think is attributed to catering to this date.
Dollars or donuts?
Percentage of sales. Yes, dollars. 2%. What else? Anyone? 12%? I wish. So it's actually less than 1%. Now, this also might be how you're ringing it into the POS. We're not fully tracking it how we could. And we're going to soon touch base on what a pre-order versus catering order is. So this number could be a little bit higher, but obviously we have a lot of room for growth, right? 42% of caterers said their biggest area of growth in 2016 was what? What type of customer do you think?
Weddings.
Weddings? What else? Anyone?
Corporate business meetings.
Corporate sales, which we're going to touch base on in a little bit as well. But before we go any further, can you raise your hand if you have done a catering order for your store to this date?
And what do you define as a catering order?
So any of our packages, any large type of orders, any special customization orders, we'll talk about what the difference is in a little bit. So anything currently that you consider a catering order. Okay, how many offer any type of delivery? How many have done an off-site event? How many people have actively or proactively marketed their catering program to their community? So obviously we have some room for opportunity, which hopefully today we can help give you guys some ideas to direct you in that sense. Okay, so let's start with what is a pre-order. So how we as Duck Donuts distinguish a pre-order is an order that's placed in advance that is from our existing in-store menu. So that is someone comes in and they order 2 dozen chocolate donuts with rainbow sprinkles and a bucket of coffee. Packaging, Duck Donuts logoed boxes or coffee buckets. So our standard in-store menu packaging. And then optional requirements are dependent on each region, on each store. If you're offering advance notice, any minimums, are you doing orders over the phone, or is it just in store? So what do you think is the difference between a pre-order and a catering order? Bueller? Anyone? I'm sorry?
Paying for it.
Paying for it? So you don't pay for a pre-order?
No, they're giving away free.
Any other?
Delivery.
Delivery? So, okay, anything else? Yes,
Set up when you get there.
set up?
Not all
Yep.
delivery set up.
Okay, anything else?
Some presentation,
Presentation?
like the donut bowls and the
Yep,
different platters.
type of specialty donuts. So this is how we distinguish it as a catering order. So a special order that's placed in advance, not from the standard menu. So that could include glitter sprinkles for a wedding, or what else? Dyed icings for an event. Something that's not on the standard menu when you walk into the store that you don't get on a typical basis. Any order that's over $50 and placed at least 24 hours in advance. A $50 order would, for most of your stores, be at least 4 dozen. It includes our standard packages, so our catering packages, and then packaging that might not be in store, such as donut hole trays, favor boxes for weddings, and anything else that you might package it in. And then optional requirements, again, are dependent on each area. Advance notice, maybe it's 24 or 48, maybe for a special request for 100 dozen donuts, you might need a week, so you can order some items in and staff appropriately. Minimums, Phone orders versus in-store ordering, and then delivery is obviously dependent on your area. Are you going to deliver within a 5-mile radius versus 10? Are you going to offer free delivery for a large order or free or delivery in general? Do you just have a delivery charge? So all of these you can start to consider when you're building your own catering program.
So now that you know the difference between pre-orders and catering, we're going to talk a little bit more and review the steps to how to really start executing that and pulling your catering program together. So the first thing we talk about is understanding your customer, doing the research, establishing the menu, ordering materials, and then what does the execution look like. So the first step, understanding your customer. So we have 2 types of customers we typically target with our catering. Social and corporate. Can anybody tell me what they think the social catering customer would look like? What kind of people are they?
Wedding.
Yep.
Churches.
Yep. Birthday parties, that kind of thing. And then corporate, what types of things do you typically see in corporate catering? What do we do that for?
Large business events.
Yep.
Team rewards.
Yep. So I'll go into a little bit more detail about social now. So here's some examples, some more additional examples. So kids activity centers, this is trampoline parks that might be near you. Those bounce houses, Build-A-Bear that might be near you. Any type of place that has holds kids' birthday parties could be a great customer to reach out to for social. Again, birthday parties, bridal showers, baby showers, weddings, holiday parties, picnics, graduations, tailgating, church groups, scouting groups, those can be really huge for you.
Endless options.
Right. So we're going to kind of review some optional tactics, and these are just ideas to kind of get you thinking. Like I mentioned, partnering with kids' activity locations. So again, it's those paint places that are really popular right now that have BYO, whatever. They're geared towards kids a lot of times as well. So going to these places, dropping off some brochures so that when these families come in, they can take those with them and have you as an option to bring in for their parties. Game day themed assortments for tailgating. So as you know, especially if you live in a college town or near a university, tailgating is huge. And who doesn't want donuts when they're tailgating? So coming up with some type of themed assortment can be really great. So we worked with Andy in Pittsburgh. Is he in this one? No. We worked with him on getting these pictures, and we put together this assortment for him. We made some recommendations, but we can work with you on doing anything like this. We can help you even just figure out how to take the pictures at your store. You can email them to us, and then we can put these together. And it's really just a nice little visual and community tie-in when you are in those areas to promote that community feel and that pride for a school. Sporting tournaments. This was something that Todd Plummer in Hershey kind of really gave us the idea about. He partnered with a tournament organization that has, it's basically for youth. I think he was saying it was like lacrosse and some hockey. What he did was reach out to the tournament organizers, and he had a pre-order form sent out with registration. So when families and teams registered for these tournaments, they would also be sent this pre-order form where they could place the order in advance, and then on the day of the tournament at registration, he would drop off the donuts at registration, and they could pick them up. So it's just, again, it's hitting those kids, those families, the teams, and he had, I think, about like 5 boxes that he predetermined, so that they would just check off which box that they wanted and how many. So, if you think about an ice hockey rink, when they're sitting there and they're freezing and they have some donuts and coffee to warm them up, and really the team members and the family are just sitting there. So, kind of a captive audience and just an additional way to reach out. Graduations and themed parties. Graduations, think about that ahead of time, right before graduation season. Think about what your local school colors are and start to have those assortments, already thought through, so that when you are advertising for catering for those things, you can actually show the assortment and, help them through their process of, I could, use duck donuts in the themed colors for my kids' graduation. So that could be for local high schools, and it can also be for colleges or universities as well. Blogger outreach. For the social catering customer, think about those foodie bloggers those mommy bloggers. Often their fans are very loyal to them, and they're gonna, trust what these bloggers are putting out there. So we can help you generate a list of local bloggers. If you know of any bloggers, feel free to send them our way. We can take a look at them, evaluate, whether they'd be a great marketing tool for you. They do contests, they do giveaways, so it's just a great way to kind of, again, spread that word with the target that you're really trying to reach, those moms with kids, or those people that are just interested in food that you know of. And then promoting special holidays and local events. So that's just trying to tie into the community. Maybe there's a big festival that goes on, and you have certain colors of icing or sprinkles for that. Black Friday to tie into a holiday. A lot of stores may be closed on Thanksgiving, so what can you do to start generating those orders at a time when you know retailers in the area will be super busy and their employees won't be able to get out of the store? Arrange to have some pre-orders dropped off at those locations to get the donuts in their hands versus on a busy day they're not going to be able to leave the store.
Kelly, didn't you focus on that the 1 year for Black Friday?
We did.
Dropped off donuts.
We did. And actually this year we were going to do it as well. But we're going to do it earlier. So I think the mistake we probably made, we didn't get a lot of traction. We waited and it was too late. Like people had already made their catering decisions this year. Before the end of this month, we're going to drop off dozens with a feed your flock message and free delivery and hit select places.
So then they're ordering for their staff.
Yeah.
Or their customers. Like we're going to push customers too. Like reward your customers on Black Friday.
Even for a special, how you have the early bird specials where most of those first customers in line
For sure.
could take advantage of the donuts. So I think I stole this from the Tremers, but this is just an example of some types of setups and stuff. It's just ways to promote social catering. And on the left here, that could be weddings, but that could also be bridal showers, birthday parties, anything of that nature. So here's a variety of some of the marketing materials we have available right now. We have a catering menu. We are going through a redesign of that. So I would recommend holding off maybe a little bit if you don't have one yet, just till we have the new version coming out. But it's great. It goes through packages, and it's a great piece to leave with people once you're visiting. Maybe giving one out per business, and then using something like the flyers or the rack cards for mass distribution. You'll see a rack card here that has a coupon on it. Maybe it's something like 15% off your first catering order to incentivize them. Cautioning, don't discount a whole lot. You don't want that to be the expectation, but maybe that's a promotion you can run to start getting that catering business out there and incentive for them to purchase. And we're working on fleshing out a lot of the stuff that we have in the toolbox right now on the franchise store. For instance, you'll see we're just about finalized with the birthday brochure. So we'll continue to kind of put together pieces that are really going to target your different audiences, which will help in your catering efforts. So weddings. We won't spend a ton of time on weddings, although I know probably a couple people in this room do a lot of those. But I know even talking from Kelly, they're very time consuming, they're high pressure. You have those bridezillas who come in and want everything to be absolutely perfect. And that, if you don't deliver on that exactly, that could turn into almost like a mini crisis. Invest in rental equipment, so that's optional. We don't necessarily recommend that. If you've been doing it for a while and you're kind of developing and collecting those pieces over time, great, but keep it simple and just let them, put together their displays and them purchase the equipment on their own.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. What kind of equipment? Can I just, like a donut holder or the platters? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, more display sign or like the display racks and
Donut
stands
walls
and our one of our franchisees has a donut wall. If you guys are offering equipment or any type of supplies, you need to keep in consideration that it should be food safe. That could come back to you and bite you in the butt later if a piece of wood gets into your food or there's chemicals on it. So we definitely recommend to just sell them the donuts, let them do the setup. take away the liability, but we do have franchisees, I'm sure in this room too, and different options if you do want to rent out equipment such as the donut walls or the display stands or the racks and things of that nature.
I did want to mention too, like we said, keep it simple. So some brides may come to you and want you to put donuts in favor boxes, and that takes a lot of time, and you could spend hours doing that. So first and foremost, we probably recommend if you can get away with it, not just saying sorry. We'll provide the donuts and let them package it. But if you do feel like you have to, definitely charge some type of upcharge or packaging fees, any type of fees to kind of cover those costs of your time and management of that will be key. So these are just some examples that Kelly sent to me that they've done a lot of weddings. Like I said, they have 1 to 2-ish per weekend. And I just thought some of these setups are really nice. Some favor boxes that you guys did. Do you want to talk any more about just kind of?
I mean, the only thing I would say is I think we would lose the business if we did not offer setup in a lot of cases. I mean, this is their wedding day and they don't have someone else to do it for them and they want it to be a certain way, but we do upcharge. Like we started, it was like $60 and then $90 and then $100 and now $120, and the last quote, we're quoting like $200 for the setup outside of the donuts, and that still is not enough. Like it needs to go up. We're trying to find that point where some people say no, some people say yes. Like the favor boxes, we charged $3 something per box. I mean,
Over the cost.
over the cost. So that ended up being like a $1,000 wedding, which that's worth your time, and then with local guests, hopefully it's a great marketing tool too. We tell ourselves it's great marketing because it is a lot of work. There's a lot of back and forth, emails, phone calls before a wedding, but I think by offering delivery and setup, that's how we're winning their business.
You're making it easy for them.
We're making it easy for them. We're showing them what we can do.
Yeah.
It's not an unknown for them to be like, well, who's going to set this up on my wedding day?
And what was your background so that you could make that pretty stuff
Oh
happen?
my gosh, yeah, that's amazing.
No,
Freaking
just-
Come on.
Trial and error.
Not
Why do you think it was her? It was her.
And clearly, when you're doing, something that has been very well decorated, you're cooling donuts off significantly right before you're topping.
We're cooling them. Yeah, we're wrapping them and cooling them for weddings because we tell them, they are not warm. They are not, if someone wants them served warm or hot or done on site, that's not us. They need to get somebody else to do that. Like,
I think that's an important.
Okay,
Just cool.
just cool.
yeah.
That's an important expectation in setting that up front, that, we are made to order and we're, fresh, but, that there's still going to be some time in between.
Weddings are a whole other entity in a way. They're definitely, yes.
We do quite a few weddings, maybe not 50 a year, but 40 or 40. And we don't do any setup. The most we've ever done is put them in 2 boxes because they wanted to use them as a favor, or we've put, I think there's a wedding we have to do where we put the sticker on the 2 boxes when we get there. But the one thing I think is important, and Kelly already said this, is when we decorate the donuts for a wedding, they're always cooled. Because, and we do have certain toppers that are better than the others, so I'll kind of schedule accordingly. And otherwise, when you get the big rush normally on a Saturday morning and you're getting donuts out, the blueberry donut's gonna touch the chocolate donut. But for a wedding, you don't want that. And you wanna make sure that the frosting is just on top and not going down, and it presents so much better. So as far as the setup, we don't have the skill that Kelly does, but
I'm sure it
we
depends
still
on
get
the
the
region
business.
too. I mean, if you're going to, for instance, the Outer Banks, they have a huge wedding season. They do a ton of orders. They don't do the setup, nor do they have the time down there. But sometimes, you might, if you can do it, then fine, that's great. Just make sure that you're also charging and you understand that liability and you have the right people for the presentation and for the look of the donuts and everything. So again, as we keep going through this too, get some ideas. It is about trial and error. You're going to be able to customize your own program based on your own store, your own area, and what you and your staff can do as well. So the great thing is it's very flexible.
So corporate catering. We talked a lot about social catering, but corporate catering is where I think our biggest area of opportunity lies. Everyone's trying to drive that weekday business. The weddings and those social events always happen on the weekends when you're already really busy, but how do you bring people in during the week when you're slow. And that's at this corporate catering area. So corporate catering, think about those office and sales meetings, think about colleges and universities, they have meetings on campus all the time, and just big university events. Open houses happen at things like car dealerships, banks. Think about those pharmaceutical reps in your area. They're always, those are salespeople that are always going to different meetings, and you can potentially have, repeat business from those kind of people. Schools, nonprofit events, nearby retailers, medical offices and hospitals are huge. Pretty much everybody has those, and they can be a great, market for you. Conferences, anything like that to really that happen during the week that really drive those sales. So,
Yeah, also realtors too.
Yeah, that's a good
So
one.
Just
That's an
they've,
important one
I've
here.
had several come in within the month for open houses. And so they've come and bought like 4 or 5 dozen to have set out at their open houses. So that's
Yeah,
another
even-
tap in.
Yep, even in like tourist areas, when you have those visitors that are coming every week, having a welcome basket or something like that, you could have a certificate in there to come to the store for donuts. I know sometimes those realtors that work with that do that as well.
Has anyone done a trade show, like a wedding trade show, where you they set a table up?
We've done some in the past. Have you? Set up a wedding?
Those work. They keep.
Yeah, I've had a lot of repeat customers come back, and it's all on how you set it up, make it very pretty. Marissa and I did the first one; it was fantastic. I mean, it depends on where you're at too. A lot of areas don't have a lot of weddings. Our areas just so happen to have them. So definitely do look at some of the pictures we have. I can send you some too of them. It's really how you set it up. Use the donut stands. Just bring the donut holes. Offer, show all our offerings.
Yeah. We have some pictures in here too that kind of show the setups that you'll see towards the end.
We just did a wedding yard sale where people can actually buy from different stands, and I had purchased 2 tabletop steam well tabletop steam wells, and those work amazing for on-site dipping. And again, they're not warm donuts, but it's a warm icing, and we've done 3 events now where we've done on-site topping, and that goes over really, really well. So that's something to think about.
So for this corporate catering consumer, I think anybody who does catering well will tell you that the biggest way to kind of start getting the word out is grassroots. It's visiting businesses in your area with samples, because often that's the first impression that these people get. They may not have come into Duck Donuts before, but by you bringing these donuts to them, having them taste it, they're going to be hooked. So that's a great way to really start getting that into their hands. Leaving brochures, leaving flyers with them when you do these visits, it will be really important. So there's a bunch of different ways we can get to them. For instance, we can pull mailing lists to help figure out who those people are. But again, those in-person visits are going to be huge, and those grassroots efforts are huge. We'll talk a little bit more about mailing lists in a little bit too. Fishbowl catering, that's just literally putting some type of fishbowl or bucket or something on your counter, asking people to drop in their business cards, and then offering to pull out a card, and then that company could win a free catered lunch. Then you have that business excited, and they're sharing on their social pages. Get a picture from them and then share on your page, and it kind of creates that engagement between everybody. And then you have those business cards that you can pull out later, and you get an idea of what businesses would be interested in catering as well. Building a network on LinkedIn. This one is one that we're still continuing to explore, but think about how many sales professionals, how many administrative assistants who are doing that ordering for catering are on those networking platforms. There's forums that you can go onto on LinkedIn that are all about that kind of stuff. So how can you kind of get into these networks through LinkedIn will be huge. And I think we'll continue to do our research on that, because I think that could be a huge area of opportunity. Surprise.
Will you create like something that we can put on there, that we can post on there for us?
Yep. Yeah, we can. You mean like on your behalf, like kind of like Facebook, or do you mean like an image that you can
Like
kind
an
of
image,
post?
like an image for catering that you can share, and then we could post on our individual
Absolutely.
LinkedIns.
Yep, that would definitely be something that we'll hope to build out with this. Surprise Your Flock contest. So this is just engaging on social. Consider encouraging your fans to nominate either their own business or a business that they feel is worthy of getting, a catered lunch or a catered snack for their office. Then they're encouraged to tag and share with people, and it spreads the word that way. And it's just a great kind of organic contest you can run. The We Cater stickers on the donut boxes, you should have received these with your promo kit. So coming up here in November, get those stickers on the boxes, on every box that goes out, put the stickers on, and they just say, we cater, so that just kind of that interface message of, we have a catering program available, just for that kind of general brand awareness. And then third-party catering sites. So Ellie will talk about this at the very end briefly, but there's things like Easy Cater that really cater to businesses who are looking to plan meetings. And some other sites that we have been exploring too that you could use as potential opportunities. So this is just a quick example of an event that Katie and Columbia did. They catered breakfast sandwiches, donut holes, and just regular donuts. It was a huge order. It was very business focused. It was for a United Way campaign, I believe. So just thought it was kind of impressive and think outside of just regular donuts. I mean, breakfast sandwiches can be a great, way to promote your catering for breakfast time. So marketing materials that we have available, catering flyer that kind of goes through and it helps educate them about the process. So maybe that's a little bit more educational, of an educational tool. It also includes like minimums and just the general high-level information about your catering program and encourages them to call, for specifics. So it kind of leaves it a little bit more general. The We Cater, this postcard or flyer, that's great for the masses. So you don't want to leave a brochure at every business. That gets expensive because they're a little bit pricier to order. But flyers, just start passing those guys out, just getting the word out. And then we have in-store collateral available as well. But we are continuing to look at all of these materials. So after the conference, we're going to be really kind of looking at each segment and developing materials that can help really promote the different segments that we have. So what's next? Now that you kind of know your customer and what we have available, here's how we're going to actually go through research, menu, ordering materials, and executing. So do the research. So look at your own area. Figure out, are you in a residential area? Are you in an area that has, those corporate buildings, those big business parks? Pick one, because it's going to be very overwhelming to promote to both of them. So figure out who your catering customer is. Is it social? Is it corporate? And then figure out which tactics you want to use from there and prioritize. Figure out what business is. If it's from a business perspective, we can pull lists. We can work with Universal Media to pull lists of very specific groups of people. So we could pull business parks. We can pull mailing addresses for medical offices, for pharmaceutical reps, for schools. So there's very specific information we can get from them. And you can use those lists to either do in-person visits, so take a look and prioritize, I want to hit these 10 biggest businesses today, and then work out from there. Or we can pull a list of all the businesses within 1 mile radius of your store. Start with those, and once you've saturated that, work out. We've had a couple people use that for pharmaceutical reps, so if you're in an area that might have a lot of that, they have weekly orders you can get from them just for all the sales meetings that they do. Social, we can also be very targeted on who we're pulling for that. You can pull, whole neighborhoods, you can pull just specific venues. And just, again, prioritize, because the list is overwhelming. Figure out who's going to have the biggest return.
And you don't have to use Universal, you can create your own list. So do some research, put everything in an Excel spreadsheet, and then we'll go to the next step.
Start as simple as Googling. I mean, that's what we've done. We just did that in McKinney.
Our interns are passing donuts as we speak to tons of businesses in our area, so hopefully our sales will increase as well. So step 3, establishing your menu. So last year we launched this catering menu, we launched packaging, and we had specific pricing based on the packaging. we were trying to focus on how to drive larger orders. So we had some type of discount. We do understand after a year's worth of analyzing and getting feedback from you guys on how you do your own catering orders that it's really dependent on each customer. So we're actually in the process of revising our pricing to have not only a less discount, but give you guys the flexibility to create your own within reason. So if you get a big wedding order, obviously it's going to be a different price than a business order. Or if it's a first-time customer, maybe you want to give a discount for them, but not for returning customers. So you will have the ability to create your own pricing structure within reason and really cater it to the specific person, the specific order, the specific customer. So we're actually going to redesign this menu to take pricing off completely. And then you have the ability to figure out, okay, what is going to be your minimum order requirement? How much lead time do you need? Is 24 hours in advance enough? Or is that dependent on each order too? Delivery, do you want to deliver? Is it only within a certain mile radius? Who is delivering from your team? Is there a delivery fee, or are you going to do free delivery for certain orders? So you really will have that flexibility to create your own catering menu based off of your program for your own store.
So ordering your materials, we have all these materials right now on the franchise store under catering, but like I said, we are continuing to add to that and continuing to revise that. We have a lot of materials on there now, and we're just trying to kind of put them all into this like cohesive umbrella to have the same look and feel, but the messaging might be switched up depending on who you're targeting. So if you don't do catering now and you want to start, there's 3 things that I would recommend starting off with purchasing. Catering brochure, which we already designed, like I said, so maybe hold off until that comes out.
Do you know the time frame before it'll be redesigned?
I would give it about a month for this to be on the franchise store with the pricing negotiators and everything.
Yep.
Taylor, who's sitting in this room, will be the one that's redesigning it, so it shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, it won't be too long before it comes out. And then something for mass distribution. So whether that's a postcard or a flyer, just that, something that you can easily quick hand out as a top level, here's, here we cater. And a phone number and email to call or email. And then of course in-store signage, so when existing customers come in, they can see that you also offer a catering as an option. And then catering will be a focus this coming November. So we'll have those materials up in the store, we'll have those stickers that we're going out on all the boxes to help plan for holiday parties and gatherings, since the holidays are a very popular catering time. And then we're also planning to roll some more catering materials and a program, not a program, but just continue promoting catering in spring 2008 with a bigger push on that. And then even past that, we're just continuing to keep catering top of mind because it is such a big part of your business, and increasing those weekday sales is going to be important. So we'll continue to keep that top of mind, coming out with new ideas. As you have things and you have events or ideas, send them my way. I always say I love any new ideas, and we can figure out how to implement them for you and for other stores too that might be having the same types of things.
And to circle back to the catering brochure one more time, if you're trying to wait, it doesn't mean that you have to wait to start launching your catering. A lot of the collateral that she showed earlier does not have pricing on it. So you can simply just give a postcard or a rack card and pass those out with donuts. You don't necessarily need to pass out the actual catering menu itself. You can have them call for details or call for questions. All right, so step 5, execute. So now that you have your list in place, you know what customer you want to focus on, how are you going to do it? So operationally, you want to set a catering goal. Okay, so what is your goal for your catering program? Is it to increase your catering sales or double your catering sales? Is it to focus for the first 3 months or just getting the word out, and then the second 3 months on actually bringing those people back into your store? Is it to focus just on one customer, so just pharmaceutical reps this month, and then put another focus on another month? So you really have to figure out, what do you want to get out of your catering? What is your internal goal? Is it to drive sales? Is it a different reason? So that is the first step. The next step is set up a tracking system. So you have your list in place. How are you going to check off when you go to those businesses? How are you going to track if they come back to the store? Either you could use an Excel spreadsheet, or I'm sure you guys are very organized and can come up with something else creative. But you want to see how many people actually return. Maybe it's by, on the rack card, putting a coupon on there and then having that coupon on the register to see, okay, so these first-time customers, I had 50% return. All right, I know that works when I move to my next customer. So thinking about those steps. Training your staff. So can your customers just call in? Is your staff going to know what to talk about? Do they know what catering program you have, what your delivery requirements, your advanced order is? When they walk into the store, is there going to be collateral that the cashier or the customer or the staff knows how to hand them? Or are they supposed to direct them to someone? Or are they supposed to give a business card of the manager? So you want to think about that before you really execute it. And then order the proper supplies and equipment. So if you're really focusing on donut hole trays, make sure you have those trays in store and enough of them. The coffee buckets, same thing. Are you doing any type of off-site events, which we'll get to in a minute? Do you need to order any additional equipment? So you want to be able to prepare so when you start getting those orders, then you're ready to go.
So one thing that'll be really important to help kind of manage all the things that Allie was saying is designate somebody in the store to be a catering manager. Whether that's the owner yourself and you feel comfortable and have time to be able to kind of manage that, or maybe it's a manager that really has an interest in catering. But having that one person that's the go-to can really help keep everything organized, help keep a consistent message. You know, the last thing you want is for an employee at the store that was hired a week ago to tell somebody that your catering is this and then it's actually not, and you could be losing money or you could be losing a customer because your message isn't consistent. So I know we've had people who have said, you know, if somebody calls for a catering order in the store, they just say, call our catering manager. They don't even attempt to try to like walk anything through them, and that's what we recommend. Yeah, take a message and have them get back to them. And to that point too, always putting that best person forward, and that includes drop-offs. When you're going to do product drop-offs, make sure that person knows how to talk to other people and can kind of make that almost soft sales pitch of, you know, hey, come, you know, think about us for catering and isn't abrasive, or, you know, just knows how to talk. Right, exactly. And that includes toppers too. So when you're bringing these samples, make sure those samples look good, because that's often the first impression. So finally, you went through all this other stuff. You're ready to prioritize your marketing tactics. Order your materials, do your product drop-offs. Grassroots is key. Social media, think about that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of cost associated with that normally. So start doing those contests to generate awareness. You know, just getting that message out there on social will be important. And then, of course, in-store collateral.
And a good idea that one of our franchise owners in the last group had about donut drop-offs, especially for the corporate setting, is if they had an order, they would take an extra half dozen or 2 or 3 with them, and they would drop it off on their way home to other businesses in that area. So kind of tackle that while you're out on the road, because it is very time-consuming.
And that's where you have to prioritize too.
Yes.
Is which businesses are going to give you the most return. Start with them, and plan to do, you know, so many businesses a day or per week to help manage that.
So any questions with that piece so far? I know it's a lot of information, and we'll have more. Yes?
Yeah, are we going to ever brand the coffee buckets?
We are working on it. They are super expensive. The last price that I got was, they were like $5 a coffee bucket or something ridiculous, and you already don't have a huge margin on that, so to invest in that too. I'm hoping as we keep growing and our coffee sales keep rising and catering, that I'll have more manpower to go back and say, hey, this is what we project for next year, and then the pricing can go down. But we are launching branded plates, little branded Duck Donuts plates soon, which is exciting. So you can use those for catering events and everything as well. And napkins. I've tried to do napkins, but they're super expensive as well right now. So off-site events. So some of you are currently participating in off-site events. Some of you might be interested, or some of you might not have any interest whatsoever. So I thought I'd just touch base very briefly on some of the ideas or procedures around it. And then it's more of a one-on-one conversation as well on, okay, if someone approaches you for the off-site event, or you're interested in something in your area, let's get on the phone with your regional, Hill Pool Kendall and I involved, and we'll talk through pricing, signage, the event itself, and all of the details as well, and because it's always going to be case by case. But off-site sales event, so you have the ability to sell donuts off-site at local events within your established territory. The approval has to come from your ROS first, just to make sure that it's the right event for our type of brand. And then from there, we'll work with you on a plan. So we recommend 2 different types of structures, and it doesn't mean that you have to do one of these. It really is going to be dependent, but here's what has worked so far and what we suggest. So you can sell donut holes, or you can sell the made-to-order donut process. So for selling donut holes, if any of you paid attention to our webinar the other week, we announced that we're going to launch an optional donut hole campaign on Monday, where the stores can make donut holes on site, and they're actually going to sell them in our new branded Duck Donuts cold cups that should be coming out very soon. So that's less product you have to buy, it's already available, and then you can get these open wide mouth dome shaped lids and then stuff them with donut holes. This is a great option for off-site events because you don't have to purchase any equipment, you don't have to bring any power supplies with you or anything like that. You can set them up in different sizes, maybe one size or all 3, display them on the table, and then sell them by the cup. And it's great as people are walking around different events, they can carry the cup, they can eat them with a fork or split them up with the family. So this is one option. And then the other option is a made-to-order site. So obviously, when you're on site at a different event, you want to try to bring the customer experience as much as you can, since they are not actually in the store. Well, one of the ways is to do a made-to-order event. With this, you do need to buy some equipment. You need to make sure you have an adequate power supply, but we do have a few options available, and I actually asked Singer, our new equipment vendor, for a small wares quote with some different options if you are interested. Doesn't mean you have to purchase them. There are other options out there, but just to kind of get you guys thinking in that direction. One of them is a steam table, portable steam table, if you saw out at the donut making station. It's the same thing, it's the same way that our current steam wells work. You fill it with water, you put the pans in and turn it on, and it stays heated. Another option is a warming light. So you can't make donuts, unfortunately, on site at this time. However, if you do bring them, just like Marissa said, you can give them some type of made-to-order process by hand dipping the donuts right there and customizing it. I'm going to also show you some other equipment as well on a different slide, but there's also in the back, which we have out here too, there's a drizzle bottle warmer, and actually some of our stores right now use that in the back of house for breakfast sandwiches, for the maple icing drizzle. That works well. But you could also bring that with you if you wanted to an off-site event. So there's definitely a lot of options. Again, just contact your ROS if you have an idea, and then we'll work with you on proper pricing, on the signage and the display, and everything that goes with it. Use us as a resource. You guys are super busy as it is. Let us help you put all those details together so you don't have to worry about it. And then payment-wise at an off-site event. So cash is easy. You can buy a small little cash drawer, do cash sales, and then take that back to the POS and bring in the regular orders as cash. Credit card processing going forward, if you do want to offer credit cards processing off-site, we do want to require that you use one of these options through Orbis. That way your statement, everything is together, it's calculated properly. The more stores obviously we get on an approved vendor, the more we can negotiate pricing, which definitely helps. So just keep that in mind too. We're not doing it to make you guys mad or make it more of a challenge, but there are benefits involved. There's 2 different options that you guys can choose from, and I can get you more information if you're interested. Just contact me or come up to me after this, and I'll give you some pricing and some other options. We use this one in Mechanicsburg right now as a backup credit card processor in case our internet goes down. Luckily, with the new POS system down the road, you won't have to use that because we will have a backup Cradlepoint or data plan. I'm sure everyone here has lost internet at some point and your processing has gone down, or maybe you haven't, which is a good thing. But so anyways, there's a few different options if you do want to take credit card sales offsite. And then off-site marketing events are more events that you're not selling donuts. So for instance, the wedding expos, if you're displaying your product, maybe it's for an anniversary, outside of the store, and you want to pass out samples, things like that. And we'll have, at our vendor expo tomorrow, we'll have 2 tables set up that Taylor will do. And it just will show you a good idea on a display on how to present materials and the samples, and also with the selling point. But do you want to touch base anything like this? Pretty
I
standard.
just want to say the tablecloths we have available on the franchise store in a couple different colors. So as you are at these events, even for like hiring and stuff like that, the tablecloths are just nice to have. So those are available. And then, you know, just make sure that everything looks simple and clean. You know, if you do have signage, put it in like a nice frame or something just so it looks presentable. Have collateral there too, so brochure, catering brochure, or map card or flyer or something they can take along with them so it has an address and a phone number on it. If you ever need recommendations on how to set stuff up, you can always reach out to Taylor, to myself or Taylor. We can get that to you. I put this example in here for an off-site marketing event just because I loved that it promoted a variety of things. So some of these little black chalkboards, that one says graduation, that one says just because. So it shows a variety of what catering could be used for in a consumer's mind. And then they even have some displays of, okay, if it's graduations, here's the colors, the local school colors. So it kind of gives them a nice sampling of everything.
Oh, and one other thing for an off-site sales event that you need to consider is some health departments, they require that you get permitting in order to sell donuts off premise. So you just need to keep that into consideration. And again, when you approach us about an event, we'll run through a checklist of those items as well to make sure that you guys are prepared. And here's just a few pictures of display racks. We touched base on this. This one is the one that Carrie Nigel has. Again, just make sure that if you are offering anything, that it's food safe. You do not want to have any liability or anything coming back to you in the end. The donut wall on the left was actually a customer. So one of our stores just sold the donuts and then they made it themselves and displayed the donuts at one of the events. And then Christine, one of our regionals, that was actually the one in the middle, was from her bridal shower. So she used some display racks and some other fun different displays and everything to do the donuts. So a few equipment options, like I was talking about earlier, the drizzle bottle warmer is up on the left-hand side. That's a great option, not only for the maple icing in the back, but also if you do need to heat any other drizzles. The hot fudge is great, overheat. The other ones you don't really need to heat, but it is an option. The one on the bottom left is the steam well, the portable steam well. It does need a power outlet, so you would have to plug it in. The picture in the middle is a Cambro insulated dispenser, beverage dispenser. So I'm sure a lot of you know if you're doing 30 buckets of coffee, not only is it a pain in the butt, but it's time consuming, the margin's not there. Well, we do have options like this that you can purchase where you can offer 2.5 gallon, 3 or 5 gallon gallons of coffee at a time. It's easier to create, it's easier to produce, and it has a better margin for you, and I can work with you guys on individual pricing for these items as well. And then you have the, why do I always forget this? The heat lamp, yes, which is an option. And I don't think you guys will get to the point where you have to purchase this at all, but it is something to consider depending on your health regulations. Up here is just a portable hand sink. Sometimes if you go off-site, they're going to require certain speculation or certain pieces of equipment, and you're going to need to wash hands, obviously, if you're touching and serving the food. And again, uniforms, you have to keep the brand consistent when you're out off the store or off-site away from the store. Make sure that your staff is representing your store and the brand in the best way possible. One of this is uniform, so if you are doing an off-site event, make sure that you're wearing some type of Duck Donut shirt or polo. You're wearing khaki pants or khaki shorts, depending if it's outside or not. Shoes, if you're serving food, make sure you're wearing a hat, you're wearing gloves. And then never forget your name tag. Obviously, that's very important to our brand. And then an apron, obviously, if you don't want to get dirty if you're serving donuts. And just a few little reminders. We're not going to touch base on this too deep, but decorating, you can definitely do for catering orders, for special requests. You're welcome to do colored icings, different colored sprinkles, things of that nature. Please don't embellish your donuts. Do not embellish your donuts with symbols, with writing. And we can talk about that if you want to discuss further. Please come see me. Wholesale policy, we really want to control our product. Again, it's about serving and selling the experience in our store. We want the made-to-order concept. So we do not want you to go out and sell donuts to then sell them to someone else, because that's how we lose control. So instead, there's an alternative that Kendall's been working on is fundraiser cards. So you can sell a bulk of fundraiser cards that might have a coupon or some free donut or free item, and then they can come back to your store and get that made-to-order fresh, warm product right in-house as well. And then one last thing as well is just to remember to be PCI compliant. You guys all will have credit card terminals in your locations. That means you have to be PCI compliant. That means you can't store credit card information out in the open. Anytime you write down credit card, it has to be stored and secured. It has to be encrypted if it's online. If you're writing a security code, you have to black it out. There's so many procedures around this because it could cause a liability if people, or even your staff, steal a credit card number, that we just say, put it in the POS system. Bring in the order immediately. Use that advanced order tab on RM. You'll be able to do that feature too. Or wait and take the order once the person comes and pick it up. Don't ever store credit card information in your store. That's one less liability you have to worry about. And really quick to touch base on delivery and catering services. So we've partnered with a few outside services to the state. Uber Eats, a bunch of stores have been using. Order Up is another option that we might go forward with in a few stores. Easy Cater is a catering program, as well as America To Go. They partner with different universities across the United States, and then we're about to work with Lyft. I know a few of you have approached us about a few other ones. I think we're at the point now where we're ready to discuss it and talk through it a little bit further. We just ask if you are partnering with a company that that our customers are taking order or paying for a service outside of your store, we need to approve it first. And the reason why we want to do that, one, is to make sure that we can help you guys negotiate pricing from a national level versus from an in-store level. We can help with those commissions. All of these companies will charge you 15% to 30% depending on, so they take a bulk of it. Let us help you negotiate pricing. Let us help you with your menu, with your imagery on those websites and everything. So if you're interested in using one of these programs and it's in your area, just talk to your ROS. I can't talk to it, I'm sorry. And they'll get it set up for you and work with Kendall and I. If you're interested in using another company that's in your area, just talk to us again about it. We're open to help you guys drive sales in any way we can. Any questions? Oh, that was a lot. Yes?
I believe it was Matt that mentioned to me that one of the franchisees had experimented with a trailer and kind of like
a food truck?
A food truck.
I knew someone was going to bring that up today. I was waiting. So one of our franchisees actually started doing the research for a food truck, and we're definitely interested in doing that down the road. There's a lot involved with it, from the setup to how to transfer the oil to permitting to the design and layout and everything. And we have the preliminary work done. However, it hasn't been our biggest priority to this date with the POS and everything else going on. So it's definitely on the radar, I think, to revisit in 2018, but it's not there yet. Any other questions? Yes.
All the Easy Cater, Uber Eats, all those options.
Yes.
Would you guys make a recommendation or on a one-off basis? Because we've heard from some of them, we've committed to none of them, and when we've talked to franchisees, people have negotiated different deals or pricing or offered different packages. We'd love guidance on what you think is a good fit.
Uber Eats and Easy Cater are two completely different programs. So Easy Cater is focused more on businesses, on corporate. So their customers are people that are out of state, or maybe that are flying into your area and they need to purchase donuts for their meeting and they don't know where to go. They can go to the website. You do have to do some type of delivery. You have to be able to get there to deliver. You can also offer pickup, but you have to at least be able to deliver as an option. They take, I think, about 15%. I could be wrong, of sales. I can do the math. Did you say it is 15?
Yeah, that's right.
Or, yeah. Okay. Scott, you do it. Does it work? What are your thoughts on Easy Cater for your store? Does it help with a few orders?
What I did is they asked for pricing, so I bumped up the price of our dozen to cover their cost. So when I do business with them, I don't take a hit, so to speak.
I don't know. Technically, so when they approach us, they say you can't. It has to be the same as your menu pricing. But I do know that you can charge delivery fees, service fees, things like that. So people do make up that percentage discount. Uber Eats, on the other hand, so that is an Uber driver that will come and pick up your order. And Brad, do you want to talk about how it works for your store? Because you've been using it for a while now.
Yeah, you know, I need to talk to you about that actually, but it's definitely different in different parts of town too. Like for instance, we have a restaurant downtown, Columbus, and it kills it. We do like over $1,000 a day, but it's a downtown area and it's very popular and people use it. And in the suburbs, not so much.
No.
And so far it has not been a huge moneymaker for us, but we're also having a problem with them. I wanted to talk to you about. They're only putting us in one zip code instead of both, and they said there's no way to change that. It's a formula that just auto-populates. But
We can get on the phone with them.
but other than that, I mean, we've gone back and forth about it too. You know, like whether you actually make a good profit off of it or not. I think the people are there, your electric's on, your rent's paid. So, you know, if they take a good cut, it still might be worth it. But